The conquest is finished, and the tribes of Israel have settled into their portions. Now they gather in the broad valley of Shechem, under the heavy branches of a spreading oak, with banners stirring in the wind. The waiting nation looks to its leader. Joshua, son of Nun, is now 110 years old. He is white-bearded and frail in body, yet he remains an upright, commanding presence as he rises to address the elders, judges, and officers for the final time. Joshua looks past his famous military victories, the walls of Jericho and the day the sun stood still. He speaks of idols. He reminds the people that their own ancestors, including Tanach, the father of Abraham, lived beyond the river and served other gods. The commentator known as the Malbim asks why a leader would choose his final moments to name the nation's fathers as idolaters. He suggests this history serves as the foundation for an argument about the nature of the family's development. This history matters because it identifies the starting point of the nation. Before they were a holy people, they were an unfit family. Transforming them required a process of refinement that would span generations, shifting holiness from a few scattered individuals to an entire nation. The first stage of refinement was one of place. God uprooted Abraham from his homeland and made him walk the length of Canaan. The Malbim compares this to a gardener lifting a young tree to better soil, testing and elevating the patriarch at every step of the journey. Next came the refinement of lineage. The family line had to be purified, drawing off the coarser elements into Ishmael and Esau. This left Isaac and Jacob to carry the heritage forward as a refined lineage. Finally, the family had to be made ready. Jacob's sons went down into Egypt, where the harshness of their bondage acted as an iron furnace. The Malbim describes this bondage as a pressure cooker. The heat of slavery was designed to melt down an assortment of individuals and fuse them into a single people capable of carrying a covenant. The centuries of wandering, exclusion, and labor were not accidents. They were the mechanical steps required to forge a nation strong enough to bear the weight of their mission. When the time for conquest arrived, the war with the Amorite took two forms. One was fought with the physical sword. The other was a spiritual war of words and intent. While Israel fought on the ground, a foreign king hired the seer Balaam to destroy them with a curse. God intervened directly, refusing to listen to Balaam and silencing the threat before it could ever reach the camp. The hornet sent ahead of the army refers to a devastating rumor. As word of Israel's divinely aided victory spread, enemy kings heard the reports and abandoned their land before a single blow was struck. Joshua reminds the tribes that they are standing in cities they did not build and eating from vineyards they did not plant. The land is a gift, proving that their presence here is a result of divine will rather than human strength. Following this history, Joshua issues a strict demand. The people must choose to serve God with total sincerity. He warns them not to serve out of a fear of punishment or as employees who work only for pay. He puts the choice to the tribes. They must decide this day whom they will serve. Then the old leader makes his own declaration. But as for me and my house, we will serve Hashem. The people answer immediately. They enthusiastically agree to the covenant and swear their loyalty to God. However, their answer contains a critical flaw. They justify their loyalty by listing the benefits: the rescue from Egypt, the protection on the road, and the defeat of their enemies. Their commitment is entirely transactional. Loyalty based on past favors and future protection is fragile. If the benefits ever stop, the commitment topples. Joshua recognizes this weakness and prepares to challenge their submission. Joshua makes a shocking countermove. He rejects their willingness, telling the crowd, "You cannot serve Hashem, for he is a holy God, a jealous God." The Malbim explains that Joshua knows service based on gain will collapse. The closer the people are to God's care, the heavier the burden of judgment becomes. A transactional mindset cannot survive that weight. The people offer a second response. They choose their words differently this time, revealing a shift in why they are choosing to serve. They abandon their list of reasons and say simply, "No, Hashem we will serve." They have moved past what God gives and are now committing to serve him for who he is. Now Joshua accepts their answer. This selfless motive is the result of the centuries of refinement they have undergone as a family and a nation. To finalize the covenant, Joshua writes these words into the scroll of the Torah, binding his own book to the sacred ones. He sets a physical witness beneath the oak, a single, massive fieldstone. It is hollowed out to hold the scroll, serving as a witness that carries the very words it has heard. Soon after, the old leader dies. He is buried in the hills of Ephraim, and the bones of Joseph are finally laid to rest in the field at Shechem. This generation, having emerged from the furnace with a pure motivation, remained faithful to God for the rest of their days. Their success proved that the long process of refinement was complete.